Oh, look who finally decided to show up. You know you've been gone for multiple... It's fine. I've been very busy.
Where there's smoke, they pinch back.
You see, I talk about my life, my childhood, as if it was pre-internet, pre-YouTube. But that's not true. Even before I had it constantly at my fingertips, I would rush downstairs to get my scheduled computer time in before someone else wanted a turn. And then I would stay up late at night and sneak downstairs to hop on when everyone else was asleep. At the time, we didn't have headphones, so I just had to turn the speakers down, loud enough for me to hear them, but quiet enough to not wake anyone else in the house. I spent full days on YouTube. Man, you think your screen time is bad now? This picture always cracks me up. Full Orioles gear, Orioles cap, Orioles shirt, Orioles plush. His little ass did not care about baseball. I know damn well in this picture he was desperate to get back to his computer time. The first YouTube video was uploaded April 23rd, 2005. 20 years ago today and some change. And we christen early YouTube as this golden age because we remember our favorite sketches, pranks, and characters. But in reality, the most viewed videos were music videos, and the most subscribed channels were Vivo. And the website was mostly a destination to watch episodes of anime split into 3 parts for free. Like I said, 2008 was the year I first laid my eyes on this dreaded website, as my older sister's friend was over and wanted to show us this funny new cartoon titled Charlie the Unicorn. Now, this was no animation for children, but I had been up in my room watching Adult Swim from the ripe age of 5 anyway. But now, I was 7. And it was time to grow up. From the moment I laid my eyes on my first YouTube video, I was instantly in love, and it would begin my path down my quest for immortality behind the screens of some. What I wanted to be more than anything, even all the way back in 1st grade, it wasn't a firefighter, or a doctor, or a spaceman. I wanted to be a YouTuber. From this moment on, there would rarely be a day I would not be on YouTube. Again, I separate my time on the internet and my time actually being a kid and watching cartoons as 2 separate eras. But I think really the reason I remember 2008 so vividly is because it was the year my eyes were opened. Not only was it the year I was first shown YouTube, it was also the year that Total Drama Island premiered on Cartoon Network. Total Drama Island is a Canadian cartoon originally airing on Teletoon the previous year, set on an island hosted by an egomaniacal maniac and his deranged chef sidekick, where 22 campers or contestants compete in challenges of indeterminate scheduling, all for the opportunity to win $100,000. Total Drama is a satirical take on popular reality TV competitions of the time like Survivor and Big Brother, 2 shows I have not seen still. It was a show full of relationships and intrigue and strategy and drama, and because of that, I really did not want to watch it. No, legitimately, even as a kid, I found schlocky reality shows and drama content really pointless and annoying. I had enough brains to feel very strongly about this medium, but not enough to understand what satire was, and that this show is meant to hold up a mirror to those cliches. During the first 3 months of the Har Har Tharsdays block, I would catch the new episodes of Chowder and Flapjack, purposefully skip Total Drama, and then watch the new episode of Johnny Test. And man, Chowder and Flapjack really held down this era of Cartoon Network, as most of the bumpers changed to coincide with this new era, and thus this new Thursday night block. You guys ever watch Chowder? It's pretty good. Maybe I'll talk about it someday if I ever have the time. Hey, check this guy out. It wasn't until the Clash of the Islands marathon on September 7th, 2008. And I remember this day well because I decided to stay home from our gross public pool for just this once. And I watched the first 14 episodes of Total Drama Island unbroken for 6.5 hours, leading all the way up to the teams merging. And it was at this moment that, moving forward, this show was going to be my whole life. But before we talk more about YouTube, there's another website I think is worth checking out. Total Drama Island has been featured in online games since the beginning. It has been entrenched into its identity. Back in 2007 and 2008, on the Teletoon and Cartoon Network websites respectively, back when these websites designed for children had Flash games to play, Total Drama Island totally interactive. And interactive it was. This wasn't just a series of games that existed throughout the show's lifespan. This was an interactive world that would change as new episodes premiered. After a character was eliminated, they would be darkened and pushed to the back, which is probably what inspired all those Total Drama My Way videos where the eliminated contestants would do the same. And I can't tell you how many of these I made in Photoshop and just never uploaded. This time I'm gonna let it all come out. This time I'm gonna stand up and shout. Hovering over the characters would net you a voice line from the series, except for Justin, because he has 4 lines in the first season. All in the first episode, including character biographies of questionable canonicity. We can't really know who wrote these detailed descriptions unless someone comes forward. There's a chance it was someone on the writing team, but there's also a chance that they weren't aware they'd be getting more seasons, so anything that's retconned later wouldn't be worth remembering. With details like Beth living on a barn and being good with animals, Courtney respecting authority, Duncan's dad being a cop, Heather having an even more evil younger brother who tortures her, and DJ was supposedly born in Jamaica, which you think he would have mentioned when they were in Jamaica. He got eliminated there. But this site didn't just exist for character biographies, it also exists for you. That's right, you could live the drama online by making your own Total Drama Island original character and earn marshmallows around the campgrounds, as well as by competing in the challenges that would update with every new episode. Some of which make sense with the title episode: rock climbing, dodgeball, assembling a hot tub. All of these are relatively straightforward. But for the challenges that don't easily translate to Flash games, you could get a rhythm game for a talent show, defusing a bomb to overcome your fear, play Tetris in Owen's stomach to prevent him from puking, help Lizzie escape. Who's Lizzie? And you may think that this interactive Flash game has no bearing on the show, but not only in later seasons could you vote online on who you wanted to win, but also you may know that there were 2 different finale episodes created depending on who won in which territory. But did you also know that the intern who was killed in the shark jump in that same episode is different depending on who got the high score on Totally Interactive in the US or Canada? And Owen won in both of these countries, meaning that there are actually more than 2 versions of this episode. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you also didn't know that in the American version, this intern was my childhood best friend and gummy bear brother. Or at least that's what he told me, and I believed him ever since. So I'm just going on about my life believing this forever. Caden is a canonical Total Drama character. Sometimes I feel like I'm spinning my wheels in Total Drama videos, but if you can walk out of these learning at least one thing, then I will have done my job. There were interactive web zones for Total Drama Action that actually acted more like an RPG where you would have to do quests for specific campers. Then seasons like World Tour only had 4 online Flash games, which got downgraded to 1 for Revenge of the Island, 1 for All-Stars, 1 for Pocket Tale, and then Flash games died off forever. However, characters like Duncan and Chef were playable as mechs in Cartoon Network's crossover robot fighter TKO, alongside characters of that era like Chowder, Flapjack, Johnny Test, Secret Saturday. And because these were all shows common in the nudes era, I mean, if you watch all these bumpers, it seems like Chowder, Flap, and Secret were the network's big 3, although you could argue Chowder, Flapjack, and Total Drama were the network's big 3. These robots painted to look like these characters and not actually being said characters is either a restriction or a deliberate reference to those little white guys. In Fusion Fall, you could get DJ's shirt, or Duncan's shirt, or Owen's shirt, or Lashana's shirt, or Trent's shirt, but I never did because this was a game you had to download to your computer and I was too afraid I'd break something. Only browser games for this guy. And for years it seems like there was never going to be anything like Total Drama Totally Interactive again. If I load this game up and it's weird, then we're not playing it. Alright? If it's weird for even 1 second. Okay. YouTube was a sanctuary for watching episodes of foreign shows in 3 parts before they would make it to American television sets. This website right here, and later piracy websites and streamers like Crunchyroll, would ultimately cause the death of blocks like Toonami in 2009. I mean, if you can access any anime you want at any time, why would you want to wait for them to air on TV? For nostalgic purposes? But I was greatly obsessed with Total Drama Island, as I would catch it every Thursday night alongside my 3 other favorite cartoons. Like that one night they aired alongside the Star Wars parody Thumb Wars and used Star Wars sound effects and rebranded as Stars Days. Or the following weeks where they had silly sounds and spooky bumpers rebranding to Scares Days. And would air Goosebumps episodes instead of the gruesome twosome, and would scare the shit out of Kid Ultra. Also, that time they aired the episode of 16 where all the characters die horrible deaths as the first episode on Cartoon Network, due to the popularity of Total Drama Island on the network. So, how's that Stoked video doing? But after a certain point, airing episodes weekly throughout October wasn't enough. With my new YouTube savvy and lust for more episodes, I, as a 7-year-old, accidentally or otherwise, stumbled across a video. Probably an episode I had never seen, probably a part 3 or part 2, meaning I had to hunt down the other parts, but posted on YouTube was almost every episode of Total Drama Island that had yet to air on Cartoon Network. And in the dead of night, I would tiptoe down the stairs to the office that was built for my dad to work out of home before he would end up leaving anyway, opening up this full computer room to me and my sisters. That might be too many details. I just thought I should explain the context. Why'd they let this kid have unadulterated internet access? Would watch all of the post-merge episodes I could manage before growing tired as the sun began to rise. Then when Thursday would come around again, I would already know what was going to happen. Back then, I had no impulse control, which is partially the reason I specifically go out of my way to avoid spoilers and to avoid binging in the modern era. I don't care if the new season of The Bear dropped all at once. I'm watching that shit 1 episode a week with all my other shows. I still haven't finished season 4. In my adult ages, I've created my own blocks of television to watch shows because, well, something like Har Har Thursdays doesn't really exist anymore. The closest we've gotten is multiple Adult Swim premieres back-to-back on Sundays, but even that hasn't gone past 3 in a good while. For the same reason I like going into video games fully blind. Back in the day, the second I would come home with a new Pokemon game, I would type in a walkthrough for said game before the packaging was even removed. Throughout my entire Pokemon Sapphire playthrough, I was never without Leroy. Shout out Leroy. More on Pokemon later. I'm pretty sure in my child Fire Red save, my rival was named Leroy. So yeah, maybe I still haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom after 2 years. Maybe I do still only have 4 hearts. But my new iPhone app tells me I'm 50% way through discovering everything, so who's the real fake gamer? Regardless, this moment, the very first time I would type the words Total Drama Island into the search bar. After that moment, I was exposed to a side of these shows I had never experienced before. Fandom. And man, if you think the Total Drama fandom is strange now, for example, let's start with the classic AMV. It is the year of our Lord 2008 after all. You see, for those of you new-gen Total Drama heads, an AMV or anime music video doesn't necessarily beget anime. It could be any show, like Pokemon or Naruto or... Wait a minute. No, okay, sorry. No, those are both anime. Clips from the shows likely ripped from a different website of a handycam pointed at a screen set to a song that matches the feeling of that edit. The modern equivalent would be those Twitter stan edits or TikTok edits set to current favorite pop song or musical. Legitimately, before I wrote this, I don't think I even listened to Epic the Musical, but I've certainly heard all of the songs through edits of cartoons and wrestlers I like. Andrew, do us a favor and scroll through all those Smash edits you saved to Kendrick.
All I ever wanted was, all I ever wanted, all I ever wanted, all I ever wanted, all I ever wanted was a. All I ever wanted, all I ever wanted was Sephiroth. All I ever.
But more often than not, it was just whatever song you were bumping to at the time, which is the correct lingo for 2008. I'm old. Who could forget classics like Dark Spyro, Animal I Have Become, Sonic AMV, Gangster's Paradise, Infernape, Monster, Infernape AMV, What Have You Done, Infernape AMV, Crawl. Can you tell which was my first Pokemon? Man, this video's been focusing on Pokemon a lot so far, but we aren't even close to there yet. Early Total Drama Island videos would be your average fare. Like this camcorder footage of the Total Drama Island theme song from June 18th, 2008, only 2 weeks after the show first premiered on the Cartoon Network. If we're treating Total Drama content online as an iceberg, the theme song is at the very tip. It's in the clouds. If you look up any cartoon, down to the most obscure 5-episode limited run, cancel, never release, blink and you miss it show, you will at the very least come across an upload of its theme song. Total Drama Island theme, Total Drama Island opening theme song, high quality, caps out at 360p. And of course, who could forget Total Drama Island theme backwards? Say we have Lindsay, Noah, and Noah, and Noah. This show really loves Noah. This theme really is about Noah. Playing tracks backwards to decipher meaning dates farther back than the internet. During the height of the Satanic Panic, pastors would play metal records backwards to expose the sermons of the devil. And this didn't stop in the internet age. I vividly remember being really afraid after watching all the single ladies and Pokemon theme backwards. I have a lot of religious trauma. Maybe this video should just be about Pokemon instead. Oh, like Pokemon, but with animals instead.
That's a gopher. Yeah, iPhone.
Posting funny moments to the show on YouTube, like this clip of Harold beatboxing, which actually features a screen bug for a marathon on Cartoon Network. But here's the thing. This episode first aired on Cartoon Network on July 3rd, 2008, and this video was uploaded July 16th, 2008. But after combing through my schedule, there was no marathon documented which features this episode between those dates. It did, however, air as a part of the Funny or Your Face block that aired predominantly comedy cartoons on a constantly changing day. Funny for Your Face was canceled on July 11th, 2008, and it was replaced with a block called the Thumbtastic After School Event. Oh, I am familiar. Also, this talent show episode aired on the final airing of this block, so I have to assume it's all Harold's fault somehow. Videos of Jeff burping and guys eating balls, these are all from the same episode. The most popular uploads early on were the aforementioned balls eating, Lindsay cursing out Heather, and Harold talking about boobies. And what do all these moments have in common? They were all censored when the show aired on the Cartoon Network. So this video of Lindsay bleeped out and flipping off Heather, which I definitely did watch as a kid, was the first time I heard this version. And I assumed it was fake. Do you know how many videos existed at the time of cartoon clips with censor beeps added over it? Not few, I can tell you that much. Also, this dance sequence in the boot camp episode got posted a lot. High quality 240p. Then there's the same scene edited with Michael Jackson's Thriller over it, which makes sense, and the creepy pig baby dance. Do I know how to set up a callback or what? According to this video, which is according to the schedule on CartoonNetwork.com, there's a very special episode of Total Drama Island airing on November 29th. That, strangely, actually ended up not being true, even though we know that drama special does exist. I mean, of course it exists. Total Drama Island aired weekly pretty consistently on Cartoon Network up until the Triple Dog Dare You episode on November 20th. And crunching the numbers here, if they continued airing weekly, the finale would air on the 27th, and then the special episode would air a week later on December 4th, not the 29th of November. But if the 27th was a Thursday, the 29th would be a Saturday, so maybe they just really wanted to dedicate a Saturday to that special all on its own. But instead, there was a 2-week gap between the final 3 and the finale episode. One of those weeks was filled by the only episode to be created exclusively for Cartoon Network in the TDI Rundown, which isn't available on streaming, but is on the official DVD release, which is why Chris McClain specifically says the words,
You've helped make it one of the biggest shows to ever hit Cartoon Network.
That's enough about clip farming. Can we discuss the AMVs now? What's interesting about most of these AMVs from the summer of 2008 is that while the show had fully aired on Teletoon in Canada by this point, some were not aware of that, which results in, let's be honest, children who are really excited to place Total Drama clips over their favorite songs, but had very few clips to pick from, which results in this Gwen edit set to All Around Me by Flylead, mostly consisting of the Awake-a-thon, which is a really edgy and brooding song with a video that implies the hardest obstacle Gwen has to overcome is being really eepy. This is Wild Island XX's first video. Show a little respect. Speaking of wild implications.
You've got to endure all the total dicks.
I mean, I guess if you had to pick anyone on the cast, we've all been there. It's tough to tie every single lyric to an important clip. I mean, this AMV implies that Noah is gonna grow up to be Bill Gates, and Cody will grow up to be Jack Black. My favorite instance of this is the Keep Holding On by Avril Lavigne, where the bit where she says, I'll take your hand, is set to a clip of Duncan wielding a hook on his. There's an AMV I found set to Girlfriend. Man, Avril was really having a year. This edit contains a shocking amount of the serial killer hook guy. Is this the girlfriend we're not supposed to like? Because Avril was right. I do think you need a new one. I'm glad that this one, because of the episode they chose, doesn't predominantly feature Owen and Izzy, with that implication, because they are missing from the couples video set to 7 Things by Miley Cyrus. Thank God I have annotations on, otherwise how would I know Owen and Izzy weren't in this one? It also came in clutch in what was supposed to be a So What edit, which had its sound removed due to copyright, but instead of being replaced with stock music library song, it's replaced with Evanescence. This one isn't even an AMV. It's just the trailer for Camp Rock played in the background of Total Drama Island footage. Anyway, back to the girlfriend. Wait. What was that? You think this unregistered hypercam is impressive? Wait until you see the hot and cold edit with unregistered hypercam over unregistered hypercam. Also, I'd like to blame YouTube for tricking me into instantly clicking on this one. You see, before 2012, only YouTube partners could create custom thumbnails. So whenever anyone else would upload a video, the thumbnail would be entirely random, a random screen grab from the video. Which is why some of the most viewed videos of the time are entirely dependent on how suggestive the thumbnail ended up being. I want my money back. I thought this was gonna be a Heather and Gwen ship edit set to Hot and Cold by Katy Perry before she was replaced by a space alien. Same thing happened with the previously mentioned couples edit. I really thought we were about to see an insane crack ship of Heather and Trent. The Just About Enough edit features the Thriller dance sequence, but with flashing lights and changing colors. Perfect for a developing brain. My developing brain. Some of these edits abruptly end, and then some of them are the entire 5 minutes and 30 seconds of Enter Sandman set to footage from the first 3 episodes of the show. That doesn't sound like a lot of time, but we're almost 25 minutes into this video. That's 5 of these. Again, because these are TV rips, a lot of these edits had to use what episodes had aired on Cartoon Network and only on Cartoon Network. Whoa, there's a brand new Naruto. Wait a minute. So what I did for this section of the project was I searched for Total Drama Island edits before the year 2009 and sorted by most popular. And without even knowing, I found 3 edits, all created by the same person. This absolute monster of AMV edits, Gobbly1242, whose channel consists of edits for SpongeBob and Sandy, Duncan and Courtney, as well as Trent and Gwen, and then their final video was an edit of Wally and Eve? This might be my new favorite channel. I'm aware of how my Total Drama videos do by now. At the very least, 100,000 of you are here, maybe. If that is the case, don't comment anything. Don't be annoying or obnoxious. Don't even say you were there. But if we can get me to 100K subscribers in 3 years, surely you could get my hero Gobbly here to that number even faster. I hold up Gobbly with a sort of reverence because they, to my knowledge, were the first YouTuber to ever edit clips of Total Drama Island to the song Bad Boy by Cascada. This entire edit is set around the sleep episode. I do like how Courtney's sleep dance is set to the breakdown in the middle of the song, but before I can cover the importance of Bad Boy in the context of Total Drama Online, we've been talking about them, but we haven't really been watching. So let's pick an AMV at random to watch together. Wait, that's gonna get this video claimed, if it isn't already. Let's pick another one at random. Okay, fine. Let's pick another one then. Alright, let's just move on. I simply do not know what I'm supposed to feel about this. I feel like I miss my childhood computer room. We've covered the moving picture edits, but what if that's a little bit too fast for you? What if your speed is something slower? What if you want to watch a Windows Movie Maker slideshow. These were the videos that permeated every essence of my being at the time. I thought this was the height of YouTube, and yet the concept was so simple. All these videos were images of Total Drama Island characters, likely taken from other sites, set to plain white tees or Simple Plan, or sometimes a different theme song from a different show. They really lull you in a false sense of security by starting with images from the show. Granted, they are very grainy images, but this is exactly how I remember it. It makes DJ look super creepy here with his tiny eyes. Why is he evil? Why does the same video jump scare you with an image of Harold picking his nose in a white void? This cast photo on the dock got a lot of mileage. I remember it was on the DVD cover as well. Then we get to the next layer of the iceberg, the next layer down, which are the character portraits. You see, apparently, if this link at the bottom is to be trusted, the Teletoon website used to host these high-quality images of the entire competing cast of Total Drama Island. I attempted to access this link on the Wayback Machine, as it hit its height in the summer of 2008, but evidently I'm a couple years too late, as this site heavily relied on Adobe Flash Player, as did everything in the post-social, pre-iPhone years of the internet. And a lot of these character portraits, simple images of the contestants and their name, take place on island landmarks, with the likes of Ezekiel hitting his iconic I think I see a bird pose. But then you get some like Katie and Sadie's portraits, which I love because it implies that they're in the same room, they just moved the camera slightly over to center themselves. And then you get to some characters with the floral Frutiger arrow adjacent pattern behind them. Anything considered tribal in the 2000s was a big hit with the kids. Even Game Boy Advances had tribal tattoos. What tribe, you may ask? That's a good question. I think this was just because of Lilo and Stitch, if I'm being real with you. I had a religious experience opening this one up. Like these pencil drawings that were clearly made by a dedicated kid, I can't even confirm if these are stolen or not. The only reason I knew how to find the character portraits is that Teletoon knows the rules of the watermark. I want to believe that the uploader themselves made these drawings. I mean, look at how they draw Owen, Justin, and Noah. This was in 2008, mind you. A lot of fan art goes uncredited in these videos, but for a second, let's take it back to the character portraits. Lindsay has one of the floral Hawaiian backgrounds we talked about, but her design is entirely different. Like, you could argue that she's in a costume to match the background, but there's not a single other character portrait where the key art isn't the character's normal look. Also, where does this fit even come from? Like, I know the image is from the official Teletoon website, but to my knowledge, this Lindsay render does not appear anywhere else in the first 3 seasons. There's one random episode in the first season in Total Drama Island where Lindsay has an ever so slightly different outfit, and I get the feeling this was originally going to be her gimmick. Like, every episode she'd have a different outfit she packed, but then the animation team realized, wait, you want us to draw a different outfit every episode? And considering how Total Drama Island normally looks, I wouldn't be surprised that it got scrapped. Some character portraits have these 2000s Advice Animals meme backgrounds, like LaShawna here. At least it's not the worst meme she's ever been inside of. I only learned recently that this was fetish art. I just assumed it was because balls are funny. You're telling me people got ball fetishes? I'm actually surprised at how many of these slideshow tributes use images from Camp TV. Like, I guess if you're looking up pictures of Total Drama characters, they're not difficult to come by. I mean, the original pitch trailer for Total Drama that was Camp TV was on YouTube by this point anyway. I guess in a world where only Lindsay can have different outfits, Gwen fans are starved for a different hair color. The tributes I remember the most are obviously the default Windows Movie Maker ones. Granted, I did come across this TDI Total Drama Island tribute, which is clearly using all the default transitions from an editing software I have never seen or heard of. My favorite part is when some guy is served a Cody sandwich. This looks like a Skechers commercial. Way to go against the grain. Everyone always talking about unregistered hypercam, but where's the love for one true media? And you could tell by the borders, but a lot of these images that were taken from the tributes, that were taken from videos, which were taken from other websites, these were really popular, at least in this subculture. The cast of Total Drama Island inside Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I remember seeing these and thinking they were so cool. And when I got my first iPod Touch, I found the Pokemon card image creator on the App Store, but it cost like $1, so I begged my mother to the point of tears to please buy it for me. And then I ended up taking pictures of drawings I made, or like the family cat. And now my original iPod is shattered into pieces, so who knows what treasures lie dormant under that cracked screen. Speaking of iPod, if you've ever watched even one of these slideshows, then I'm sure you've seen at least one of these. TDIpod. These pieces pieces of fan art were permanent fixtures of almost every edit and never credited. I mean, this edit credited Photobucket and trods for pixo.com. Plugging that same link into the Internet Archive results in only 2 snapshots, one from 2013 and one from 2019.
Excuse me, but I think my food just moved.
So, you have a problem with that?
No.
Yeah, mine just spoke to me.
Hey now.
My food is breakdancing.
Cool!
Not really. I was gonna eat that.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad. Oh,
Are you okay?
barely.
Good morning, campers.
Hey, Chris.
Who's up for a game of dodgeball?
Me?
Not me.
Noah, you're playing this game if it's the last thing you do.
Oh, yeah? Make me.
I bet she will. Everyone, to the dodgeball court. You all know the basic rules, so I'm not going to bother.
What do I do with the ball again?
Dodge!
Like you would know.
At least he's awake, unlike you were last time.
Hey, that wasn't my fault.
It was right after the Awake-a-thon. What do you expect?
Guys, let's just play already.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah, that's cool, but just... Who is Aaron? Who is Red? 2013? Artist? I forgot. It's from Lilo and Stitch. It's Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride. It says the name in the song. Yeah, that's right, I'm calling you out, anime fan. Speaking of, it's interesting just how many anime fans seemingly made an exception for Total Drama. Like I said, it was one of the few non-anime series to get the YouTube 3-part episode treatment. I mean, it's all foreign to me. I mean, look at this epic fan art of Gwen and Trent as an anime I don't know the name of, or Bridget and Jeff as an anime I don't know the name of, or Owen and Izzy. I don't know what this artist was implying by putting Heather and Lindsay together like all the other couples, but I'm not opposed to it. Most of these edits were set to nu metal and butt rock pop, and then this one is just the Fooly Cooly theme song. How did they turn super anime fan? This one isn't even anime. It's just the cast in Monsuki and kimono. Again, all of these images are spread across multiple slideshows with no credit beyond Photobucket. But it only took one Google search to find the original TDIpod images posted on November 2007 to DeviantArt, meaning these images predate the show airing on the Cartoon Network. This dude is an original. This goes without saying, but everything I talk about in this video is almost 2 decades old, which is the only reason I'm comfortable talking about them and showing videos from smaller channels. Don't be a dickhead and fuck with anyone mentioned here. I know you want attention and you want me to notice you or whatever. Still posts on DeviantArt to this day, and he's out living his best life. Good for him. That being said, we should talk about these images. The TDIpod pictures are based on the popular Silhouette iPod commercials that ran from 2004 to 2008. So these got in right at the edge. And with 22 characters to pick from, they aren't all gonna be winners. Like, you have inspirational quotes like be yourself, be creative, and be unique. And then you have Courtney's, which is be loose, and Duncan's, which is be juvenile, be evil, be mental, be blonde. You new age Total Drama fans wouldn't last a day on my internet. Why won't my children call me back? Lashana's is just be gangster with a hard R and a period. Gangster. I reiterate, this is a comedic video. These images were made when I was 6 years old. Nobody is to blame for this other than Total Drama themselves for calling Lashana ghetto several times in the first season. You thought I forgot that, huh? My love of the show is confusing and complicated and multifaceted and layered. These pieces of fan art dare to ask, what if Gwen was a snowboarder? What if Bridget actually rode her surfboard? What if the love triangle from season 3 were in a band and also Bridget was there? This is basically Team Amazon. Bridget seemed to be a really popular character from the first season. I knew a lot of Bridget fans personally. It's a shame they basically forgot about her after that, you know, more or less. She was too busy transferring her soul to Emma Stoked. What's that view count looking like, boys? Are we close? This image of Courtney and Duncan surviving in Silent Hills Hospital was a glimpse of the first stages of combining the childish love for this cartoon and the prepubescent love for horror scenarios. More on that later. I mean, this image of those two as an angel and a demon shot me back in my chair like a sleeper cell activation phrase. I downloaded this image and made it my desktop background. Sorry, correction. My parents' desktop background. Gwen is rad, Heather is fabulous, Izzy is... Aw, cousin production. That's cute. I guess some close family gathered around this computer to work on this together. What the hell? Can we stop with this creepypasta bullshit? I'm trying to watch Total Drama Couples by Enrique Iglesias? I didn't know he was such a big fan from such an early age. Granted, in 2008, that age was 33, but I mean, I'll probably be 30 talking about Total Drama. What else am I gonna do? Spend the budget of a video on an exact recreation of my childhood family computer and then purposefully export a video in low quality and point a camera at said computer? Sounds like a waste of time to me. But forget about that crisis for a second. While not your classic full motion AMVs, all these slideshows do share one commonality, and that is music. Most of these videos we just revisited, the music was innocuous. It wasn't intentional. Instead, the songs were likely picked due to the author's preference or popularity at the time. But then you have a video trend like Total Drama Island theme songs, a little bit lower on the iceberg. The conceit of these videos were honestly pretty simple. A slideshow of 22 contestants, but instead of one song playing on track for all of them, every character is paired with a song that best fits them. Ergo, their theme songs. Slideshows of official Teletoon images, of the group shot zooms, of the iPod fan art, and even more Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I was obsessed with these videos when I was young, probably because they introduced me to several songs. I mean, they were popular songs, so maybe I would have come across them at some point anyway, but this definitely expedited the process. But nowhere in the credits or the description does it ever say the names of the song. So if I ever wanted to hear these songs again, or got their specific snippet in the video stuck in my head, the only place I knew to go to listen to those short snippets again were these videos. Forget SmackDown vs. Raw. I think these theme song videos shaped my music taste for years. And still do. These videos would be the first times I heard the likes of Disturbia, Barbie Girl. When I'm out with my girls, I always play a bit bitchy. Can't change the way I am. Sexy, naughty, bitchy me. I got in a lot of trouble around the house for singing that one. Would you believe me if I told you that the impetus of this video came when I saw a Jim Carrey Dr. Eggman edit on TikTok and instantly blasted me back to my family's computer room set to this song. They have Cody in separate videos set to Suicidal by Sean Kingston and White and Nerdy by Weird Al. But then in a different theme song video, Harold is the white and nerdy one. And then there's two separate videos where in one, Owen's song is Eat It by Weird Al, and in the other, his song is Fat by Weird Al. I haven't gone back to all my favorite Weird Als until this year, and I legitimately just assumed these were one song, and I was remembering it wrong. This is like a song from Phineas and Ferb. Boy, do I have the perfect show for you. What is world-renowned generational director Jordan Peele doing in this white and nerdy music video? As a kid, I also watched the hell out of this hardware store animation by some dude named 1ENG. Must be foreign. Like I said, some of these song choices fit, and some of them are insane. These are from the same video, by the way. Out of all of the artists you could have picked for Lashana to embody her spirit, and you picked Pink. However, her also being apple bottom jeans in a different video is inspired, as this is actually a reference to the uncensored version of the show that didn't air on Cartoon Network, where she describes her booty as luscious as an apple. Then you get all the things she said for Katie and Sadie. Whether I was a wrestling fan or a Total Drama fan, this song would find me. Oh, and Poppy. But that overlaps with wrestling anyway.
It's peanut butter jelly time! Peanut butter jelly time! Peanut butter jelly time!
I'm not an Ezekiel expert, but I don't know how I feel about this. Now this I can get down to. My brain has been fried by the internet. I can't hear that riff anymore. But more importantly, this theme song video, which I'm almost certain is the one I watched over and over as a kid, introduced me to the classical piece, Bad Boy by Cascada. Not only with Courtney's theme song, but also the infamous and popular Duncan and Courtney Bad Boy AMV from our good friend Gobbly. And I was ready to wrap this up in a nice dunk-knee bow, but then I found a theme song video where Izzy's theme song was Bad Boy, and now I don't know which one I remember. I know this was the series that introduced me to the song, I just don't know which video. Could you imagine if it was the Izzy one? It was from that moment as a child that I was motivated. It became my life's goal to get popular enough on YouTube to have a Bad Boy by Cascada edit made about me someday. But then I went through Twink Death on purpose, and now I don't know where I fit into all of this. These anime images and questionable iPods lead us to our next category of Total Drama Island fan slideshows. The Headcanons. Let's lower our iceberg a little further down. We get simple ones that are just wrong, like Total Drama Island birthdays. I mean, how could anyone in 2008 possibly have known we'd ever get canon ones? Yeah, actually, Cody was not born on April 1st, like the series says. Instead, he was likely born on May the 4th, because if there's one thing I know about these fresh TV shows, it's that they love Star Wars. Again, these characters are mostly represented inside Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I don't know why. Basically, everyone in this video is stated to be 18, weird, except for Owen, who is 22? Like, the second closest is Trent at 20, and that is the only gap that goes over a whole year. Except for Courtney, who doesn't have an age, thus making her an ageless being beyond our current comprehension. A white guitar player in his 20s dating a teenager? Imagine my shock. Then there's some edits that don't match the language of the show at all. This Cody and Gwen edit is mostly made up of fan art that wavers on fetish content. Why is he a baby? Put a pin in that for later. I didn't know Gwen belonged to the Water Nation. Oh, but something really makes me want to obey. Because the only actual screen grabs from the show, Gwen looks miserable and uncomfortable. Thank you, Cody fan. You fought the good fight. What are the odds that the writers of the show saw this account and made Sierra because of it? Also, I still have no clue what editing software uses these transitions, but I really want to make one now. Sound off in the comments down below if you know what software it is. And like the video if you hate Nazis. If you don't like the video, sorry. I guess you love fascism. I don't make the rules. And then we have the process of elimination videos. For the most part, these are either slideshows of the elimination order of Total Drama Island as it is represented in the show, occasionally with some added flavor text. Oh, that's some old bullshit right there. I guess this person really wanted Gwen to win. By the way, because I have annotations on, I managed to find some remnants of the old video responses feature. If you're a doo-doo diaper baby, which you likely are if you're watching my Total Drama videos for some reason, where are your parents? Fuck, shit, piss, dick, come even. Video responses were a feature added to YouTube back in 2006, sort of like TikTok's stitches and duets. You could post a video directly under the original video and it would be listed in the recommended bar afterwards, which led to a lot of women with a lot of breasts clogging up the feed of viral videos to leech some of those views. But hey, don't hate the player, you know? You ever see a Smosh thumbnail from back then? What does this have to do with food battle? Anyway, the annotations here discuss a fan-run TDI camp of YouTubers who would all respond to each other in video responses to compete in their own run of the game. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Then you have the same type of video, except it's a grid of characters that slowly fade away as popular unrelated music plays in the background. Feel the rain on your skin. She has risen! Unwritten always makes me think of the public pool me and my 5 or 6 family commune used to go to in the summer and get sick. It takes a village. Speaking of childhood stories, back in the day, we were actually taught Microsoft PowerPoint as part of our curriculum. After seeing these videos where the only editing required is fades and music, I got to work. Before I discovered Adobe or even Xbox Video Editor, my first editing software was PowerPoint. More on that later as well. These elimination order videos then brought rise to my way versions. So what is a camp? What is TV? Where the YouTuber would create one of these slideshows in Movie Maker or PowerPoint or whatever this Skechers ad was, and lay out the elimination order if they were in charge of the show. So basically fan fiction, and basically what my job is. Heather off first? I think you put too many V's in your evil. This choice was deliberately made out of spite for the hated character, but the thing about Total Drama is, especially with these fan elimination orders, the most popular characters are always going to be the ones that get the most screen time anyway. Like Ezekiel, Eva, and Noah are still voted off early. Except Noah has to go first, I guess. You may think it's crazy to get rid of Lashana, Lindsay, and Beth this early right after, but this is actually a decision only a true showrunner could make. Because if Heather is gone in the first challenge, what are these ladies supposed to do anyway? I'm pretty sure the reason Cody's legs look so weird in this picture is because in the group image, he has characters in front of him. So the artist just had to interpret what his legs would look like. Like I said, the characters with very little screen time, aka the ones out of the show early, wouldn't make it that far in these fan versions anyway. Except for Tyler winning this one. And Tyler winning this one by a completely different person. And the previous video we just covered that said in its description that they thought Tyler was going to win. What is this? Am I missing something? Is there some sort of secret Tyler fan base I wasn't aware of? Does he have a famous AMV like Duncan and Courtney did? Hold on. Famous Tyler Total Drama video.
Time to pay back that favor.
I like girls.
Wait. But this is season 3. I do not own Total Drama Island. Oh yeah? Well, I do. I'm captain of Total Drama, and I say go out and make a bad boy by Cascada edit of Tyler Total Drama. The other side of these fan script videos are the ones that are meant to be fan created, fan written, entire episodes. And some of them make that fact very clear, like TDI Cody lovers here. Harold is picking his nose and hitting Cody. Like, at the same time. But then you have these videos that just use the actual name of the episodes in the episode order. And a dumb 7-year-old who was looking for episodes on YouTube illegally, who couldn't read the timestamps, I guess, will get so mad stumbling across these. This kid wanted to get spoilers. The episode is more or less the same, just very clearly written by a child. He would not fucking say that. The twisted cousin of these headcanon versions were Total Drama Islands with almost entirely different characters, and on occasion, the same characters, but they act so out of character that they may as well be entirely different characters. Who could forget classics like Total Drama Island Bridget edit, with a recolored Bridget named Selena, or Total Drama Katie as a goth, which consists of one image and then mostly character description. I did not steal this pic from anyone on DeviantArt. I actually appreciate that because I was feeling mighty suspicious of the gender bending one. This is from 2008, I must remind you. Don't let anyone diminish your experiences just because they never experienced them. But this video is a slideshow of, as the title suggests, Total Drama Transgender. And the original artist is at the very least credited. That's a marked improvement. You see, when it comes to fan self-insert characters for most fandoms, there's a fictional disconnect. Drawing yourself as a pony or with a crystal gem in you gives you a lot of options. And also color swaps are accepted because the shows themselves basically already have color swaps. And sometimes you have fully original characters like Cindy, Kevon. Did a white suburban mom name these kids? I like that Michael sort of embodies a gym leader more than a teenager. Why do I keep bringing up Pokemon? And sometimes you have people sneaking their self-inserts in the average fan art slideshow. But Total Drama OCs were a form of online digital art craft that was exposed to a rabid fan base of children, just now learning how to alter and edit images. And again, when you have the likes of Spyro or Sonic the Hedgehog, you can make a fully new character just by color swapping. But when the cast of characters from your show of choice are all human teenagers, you get Heather Lashana color swap. I just know before I even click on this, it's going to be a problem. Could you put the Joe Biden comic over this, please? Posting this on Twitter without any context. There's an entire subgenre of color swap videos, and every single one includes some sort of race swapping. I choose to believe these were made by expressive kids who truly did not understand the repercussions of what they were unleashing. Or maybe someone out there really thought Ezekiel should be black. I don't know. I like that the Harold color swap just turns him into a creepypasta. But once we open the book on edits and color swaps, we need to discuss the time skip side of things. Put it on the iceberg. Doesn't matter what age of the internet you're peering into. If you look up total drama on any website at any point, you'll come across some fan work where the teens are all aged up to be adults. This isn't a phenomenon exclusive to Total Drama Island. It's actually quite common to see amongst pseudo-mature cartoon characters that still abide by cartoon logic and do not age. I mean, the Rugrats had a whole show about it. Far superior, if you ask a guy like me. But it's incredibly interesting just how many of these videos were made in 2008 alone, and how this trend still comes back every couple years or so. So what did become of the cast of Total Drama Island? After the show, after 5 years, after 10 years? Insane! That's the far-off year of 2018. These videos weren't just fan renditions of these characters set to music. Some were fan renditions of these characters set to music with descriptions. But focusing on the designs, most of them are your average Total Drama recolor, but they completely change Beth every time. Through these videos I found, they just make her a completely different person. Like she got facial reconstructive surgery after some years. Like, yeah, Courtney got yassified and they ungothed Gwen, but none of these reached this degree. She changed her face. So a lot of the glimpses of the future were, what if Justin was blonde? What if Cody was blonde? What if Tyler was blonde? What if Duncan just became Guy Fieri? We ran out of career paths. How about both Lindsay and Jeff get roles in Scooby-Doo? In a timeline where Sarah Michelle Gellar is not cast as Daphne, but Lindsay is, the trajectory of that character would go in a wildly different direction. Some would argue the opposite direction. The only reason she does karate is because of Buffy. I love that the only thing that changed for Jeff in a decade's time is that he no longer wears a hat. In this one, Justin looks so strange. This is also the same video where Justin's future career is listed as a photographer, a minute before we get to Cody, whose future career is as a photographer. Cody got to intern for eHarmony back in 2008? Did they have interns there? I think the best ending for Cody is the one where he moves to New York to obsessively become Gwen and Trent's third. That's also a funny phenomenon you notice when you consume as many of these in a short period as I did for this video. For a Canadian show starring Canadian teens set in Canada, they sure do love moving to US states. California and New York, I get. Those are like American Mecca. But Courtney and Duncan moved to Florida? Why? She works for Office Max? You could tell that some of these paths were selected by children who have a tenuous grasp of how much certain jobs pay. Like, wow, I can't believe Justin is a Macy's model. A career that will surely exist for years to come. At least in the Florida ending, Courtney still attempts to sue the show. This was posted in December 2008, so the drama special had likely aired on the Cartoon Network already, so this crazed Courtney had already been introduced ahead of the second season. More on that in the end. Why would you name it Balls Are Us? Lindsay became smarter and went to Collag and is a professor. Professor of what? Investment banking? I try to think of the dumbest one. This version of Izzy is pregnant in her mid-20s and is apparently working as a bust boy. Bust? Boy? I know pregnancy changes your body, but do they really need a position for that? Izzy's choices are either she continues to evade the police, she gets pregnant at a dead-end job, or she becomes a cop. I know which one I'd rather pick. Where does this trope even come from? Because I hate it every time I see it. Avatar, Twin Peaks, fan-made Total Drama Island video from 2008. At least she got to choose to be a cop. Harold got drafted. Dude, forget about Office Max and Macy's. What happens in 10 years' time that requires a Canadian draft? What happened in this timeline? Oh, the timeline where Heather becomes a witch? Like a shoot witch? At least I think that's what this text is saying. Honestly, it's sort of hard to read. I do like the Heather ending where she basically becomes the next Chris McClane due to her penchant for torturing teenagers. That was always my theorized headcanon for Izzy. But I guess she got pregnant instead. Many such cases. Why on earth would Jeff become a college guidance counselor? Is that the same Collag where Lindsay is a professor? Ezekiel pivots his sexism to either become a rapper or become a professional wrestler who exclusively fights women like absurdist performance artist Andy Kaufman. Technically, one of these answers is more correct. And now time for everyone's favorite and most popular Total Drama Island contestants. Katie and Sadie. Move over, Goth Katie. Make room for Sierra Katie. Isn't that the name of that one Jedi from that licensed Star Wars game? That one that has the annual tournament at that one convention? Well, that's basically what she becomes. Crazy prediction, honestly. And then you have Sadie, who now lives in yellow, It's the only change to her character. She lives in yellow forever now. In this final video, the same video that gave Cody and Justin the same career, likely on accident, lists Katie as dating DJ after DJ is listed as dating Lashana, and Lashana doesn't seem to care about any of these losers. Forget alliances. When is Total Drama gonna implement a polycule? I have more to say about these strange ships, but before I delve into that, I would like to cover the topic of mistakes. Total Drama Island Typo was a series of Windows Movie Maker slideshows created by ex-Irish Kid 93X with 19 installments equaling 33 typos all over one summer. The first video was posted June 2008, and the finale would wrap up in August 2008. So these are just the early mistakes, the majority of which are set to Raver's Anthem by Happy Hardcore, a song that hopefully you should be hearing now, and I solely associate with crazy stick figure randomness. Hearing that theme beamed images of stick figures into my head you wouldn't believe. It was a series of rapid-fire second-long stick figure sketches that actually predates and outranks the far more discussed stick figures on crack. Everyone wants to talk about stick figures on crack, but no one ever gives proper praise to the classic that came before. Where does dick figures fit into all this? These are mostly just jokes stolen from The Simpsons, Family Guy, YouTube Poop, the format of Robot Chicken. So basically, everything Ultra Kid in 2008 could want. Play that happy hardcore track, white boy. The Total Drama Island Typo series initially began as a way to point out just that. Typos, mostly from the totally interactive website we mentioned before, like mixing up Katie and Sadie's names, referring to Izzy as Lizzie, listing Harold as the protagonist of the bomb diffusion game when it's clearly Cody. I'd say that really the only reason this series existed is how often the website flubbed text or just straight up got information wrong, mixing up literal grammar, tense, and pronouns? How come this producer is described with both female and male pronouns in the same sentence? How about you mind your own business? Or, like earlier, details that are just made up about the characters that are later proven incorrect in the series itself. Like how Jeff is listed as having only younger brothers, but in the Battle of the Sexes eating challenge, he gives a shout out to his big bro back home. Actually, this clip was the one featured earlier in this video in a famous upload. On one hand, the team behind this website were probably just making stuff up and weren't that high on the totem pole. On the other hand, this is a mistake that the writers on the show have made themselves. Divorced from the interactive site, Owen is said to be the eldest of brothers and then the youngest of brothers on separate occasions, and these are both within the actual show. Speaking of the show, those were always my favorite typos, when characters were places they weren't supposed to be. Cody at Katie's elimination, Justin at Eva's, Cody and Noah being at the killer bass table when Ezekiel makes his sexist remarks, Katie and Sadie being on switch sides before they traded to be back together. Worth noting that in several installments and 33 typos that the author never points out that Izzy is mysteriously missing from her team in the first episode. Someone may have something to say about that someday. Which isn't anything new. I mean, even on the website, with the official team group photos, Ezekiel's on the wrong team. Harold isn't at the Fear Factor elimination ceremony. Eva doesn't get a marshmallow at the first ceremony. All of that with a little sprinkle of several animation errors. But even that is a small subset. The main attraction is how often the official website that's connected directly to Teletoon and Cartoon Network had pretty basic typos and mistakes. Even the horse's mouth wasn't immune. But in going back to watch all these typo videos for this project, I came across something that may actually be a huge bombshell, but I've never seen discussed. Actually, in working on this video, I found another video that covers this topic, but I'm pretty sure it's AI. Like, at least the voiceover. Total Drama Island typo number 15 actually refers to the episode description on the official Teletoon website. Each camper is getting their minutes of fame, or make that 5 minutes of shame, when they compete in the Total Drama Island Modeling Challenge. Dressed in heels and wigs and forced to strut their stuff, they will be judged on their walking, talking, and hawking as they participate in a photo shoot. Owen scores big points with the judges, but loses big-time friendships when he gets caught participating in multiple alliances. If the campers' humiliation weren't tested to the limits, their courage will be when they are told they must do their final catwalk performance on a tiny runway over a pit of crocodiles. In the end, one camper reigns supreme when they fall into the crock pit and face off with the hungry beasts. Not only is this the incorrect description for the episode, but also doesn't match any episode of Total Drama Island. For that matter, it doesn't match any episode of Total Drama Action. It's one thing to get a typo or some innocuous detail wrong, but this is an entirely made up episode of Total Drama Island that never existed. Or did it? Because that episode description was posted under episode 22, Caught, Capture, or Isle de Losers, which if you don't know from the title, is the episode where we take a break from the final 5 contestants to focus on the 17 losers who are currently living off the coast of the island in luxury. Which is also the episode where Lashana is unceremoniously eliminated from the show, in an episode where she has no lines. And if you've been a fan of the show, I'm sure you've heard urban legends that this was due to her voice actress not being able to record more lines for that season, even though she speaks in the finale episode. Some even say and regurgitate in tweets that she was initially supposed to win Total Drama Island, with no substantiated information to back that up. But this is an entirely different episode description. For an episode 22, that does not exist. So while I don't believe she was ever meant to win, she was likely always meant to be eliminated here, the description on the official Teletoon website could point towards the voice actor theory that I never previously believed. It's entirely possible that there was meant to be a fashion show challenge where Lashana would get the boot under completely legitimate means. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. Either way, it had to have been a better elimination than the way she went out on TV. Do I think this for sure means the episode was changed due to the voice actor? No, but this does point to a previous draft of that episode that had to have been in production long enough for the official website to have a description for it. This may be one of the most important Total Drama Island discoveries of the year. Or everyone else already knew this, and I just forgot. Either or. I mean, think about how many names here unknowingly unearthed Total Drama secrets. You see, at a certain point, the Typo series was accepting submissions from YouTube commenters and forum posters, featuring fellow creators like Seahawk Fan for Life, a Singin' X Gal, and... No, this can't be. How is this possible? Even when I run and hide all the way back in the year 2008, they still have a way to find me. I tried to forget. I really did. But they just won't leave me alone. So remember earlier when I said a lot of people were making fan art of the Total Drama Island cast as adults? Well, even more of them were drawing these characters as babies. This is not a modern phenomenon. For whatever reason, since the very beginning of this show, there have been dedicated fans that really wanted to see these characters as children or babies. At least someone got what they wanted. But even within this already small sub-community or 2 distinct schools of thought, or micro-community, one of which, like I said, are the cast of Total Drama Island as babies. And what's interesting about the multiple different video examples I hunted down for this segment is that some of them feature distinctly different art styles in the images they took. Meaning at the very least there were 2, although there's probably more, popular fan artists who dabbled in this subgenre, who aren't credited in these videos, and obviously I can't look them up because what do you think happens when you look up Total Drama babies? On the other side, which actually drew baby characters, but in the context of them being the cast members' kids. I know this is a very cartoon thing to just have 2 people together forever, but imagine having children with someone you dated for a summer when you were 16. And some of these pairings give us insight into some real crazy ships from across the show, and a fandom that wanted to pair everyone with someone. Sure, you got your Bridget and Jeff, your Gwen and Trent, your Lashana and Harold, but then you have the likes of Cody and Beth. I guess she did Kiss, his full body cast. Justin and Heather, they're both vain, and Heather comments on how hot Justin is multiple times. I mean, the ship was so popular that the show just invented a new Justin for Heather to have actual chemistry with. But then you have DJ and Katie, who basically only stood next to each other once. Not only does this pairing show up multiple times in these baby videos, but also if you remember, even in the 10 years later video they're together. I guess he had to get paired with someone on the Killer Bass. For some reason, DJ really named his son AJ, huh? Noah and Sadie, Ezekiel and Eva. Why does everyone need to get married and have kids? Can Eva just not live in peace? Can Noah just not be gay? That's also a complaint I have for the actual show. This is a very Punnett Square way of looking at things. These couples, always a man and a woman, have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and they each look like their respective parents. The only factor to differentiate are some of the names. I feel like Cherry is a name only Duncan could think of, and Brian is so normal it has to be Courtney's. Baby Tyler, as in Tyler's kid, is named Kyle, and I feel like that gives Tyler vibes. You know what I mean? Like, if the show was made a decade later, Tyler's name would be Kyle. Does that make any sense? But then you have Owen and Izzy's kids, E-Scope Jr. and Big Fry. I think the font chosen is sort of throwing me off. Okay, so we all see that Big Fry is obviously a terrible name for a child, especially because they're famously small. But also, I was about to accept E-Scope as a name that you would choose for your kid if you wanted to be called that as a teenager, but then I clocked the Junior. I mean, this specific video is TDA babies and went up the summer of 2009, meaning one, we're breaching containment for this video a little bit, but E-Scope was very much in their E-Scope era, as it were, around this time. We need to take it back to Total Drama Kids. These are all Courtneys. Like, each of these family members are different Courtney redraws. Defeat my 4 Courtneys. That's enough about fake children. How about we discuss real children? I'm gonna talk about my childhood. I wasn't about to look. Anyway, Christmas 2008. Months after some of these videos even saw the public eye, my sisters and I would unwrap the largest present under the tree. The Nintendo Wii. The console that released holiday 2006. So we were a little late to the party. I hadn't actually got a console at launch day until, well, I guess the Switch 2. But I didn't just grow up in one household with 2 sisters. I like to think I grew up with an amalgamation of 5 or 6 families with 10 or 12 siblings. Like I said, it takes a village. Instead of being raised by 2 parents, or even 1, we were brought up in sort of a Nintendo Wii-based commune. These 13 children would all go to the same school, and when school wasn't in session, we would all file into one of the 5 or 6 households. Instead of being watched over by 1 parent, 12 kids would be watched by a different pair of parents wherever we went. It's like they had to draw straws, which gave our parents a well-needed break period after watching, well, 13 or so kids. As it is written in the lore of Ultra, separated into 6 distinct royal households: the Ultra household, the Gummy Bear household, the Musical household, the Call of Duty household, the March Madness household, and the Super Bowl household. That's just for those of you keeping track. I feel like everyone got a Wii at the same time. The console had released 2 years prior to the Christmas of 08, but it wasn't easy to come by. Either the Wii finally became available to the average consumer around this time, and all of the kids played it once at someone else's house, and then all systematically asked for it for Christmas. Santa was involved somehow. Or all the parents in the Wii commune planned for this from the jump. Because as we all traded households and enjoyed the likes of Wii Sports, Boom Blocks, Mario Party 8, Mario Kart Wii, Disney's Bolt for the Wii. I'm still waiting to hear where my game went, Dan. But there was one game I saw for the first time at one of these many households that I knew I had to have, starting a domino effect to all these households. For my birthday, the week after, I managed to cry and scream, beg enough to get Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii. But you may know that story already. What you may not know is that in the 2000s, a new form of animation was making the rise to the top of every gaming page. Animation inside video games. Instead of using a brush or a stylus or a mouse or a pen, these animations were created inside the video game by players puppeteering the characters up and down to mimic speech, and sometimes even complex movement. Machinima existed long before YouTube, reaching back to the days of Quake movies, and even before that, kids have been using video games for extracurricular purposes forever. I always felt like I was being watched whenever I wanted to play with my sister's dolls, like I knew somehow I was doing something wrong, that the dolls and dollhouses were not built for me. So I found my own dollhouse, and I played with my own dolls. When no one else was around and I got sick of adventure mode, I would spend my time in Super Smash Bros. Brawl puppeting the characters around. Not by fighting, but having them talk, frantically switching between controllers myself. I had built my own dollhouse without any fighting. I would have Ness and Lucas be Fred and Kevin from hit YouTube series Fred. Yes, that is true. I did do that a lot. I made them kiss. I would sneak away to do this, praying every time that I would never be caught. Little did Kid Ultra know, he wasn't the only one. For people all over the internet create stories in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. No fighting, no points, no rules, and even better, it has a name tied to it. Okay, Andrew, but this video isn't about Smash Bros.
Welcome to Total Brawl Island!
Now it is. Total Brawl Island was one of many videos about Super Smash Bros. That did an awful number on my developing brain at a young age. You can have my big gay dance! Look! It's only like a 4-foot drop. The video itself, as you could probably tell, is Total Drama Island, but set and performed inside Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It's got all the same tropes: 22 contestants, 2 teams, constant challenges, eliminations. The second episode adds confessionals, also including living conditions that we wouldn't even put political prisoners through. Super Smash Bros. Brawl only has 35 character slots, so with 22 campers, a host, and a chef, there's only a handful left out, noticing that the final characters you unlock in Toon Link and Jigglypuff are absent. I know what that means. And not to spoil a future Smash Bros. Prediction video, but this is what I consider to be the cast of Super Smash Bros. Like everyone that made it from Brawl to Melee. That's who I consider the Smash Brothers. Game & Watch and Captain Falcon are my close personal friends. In recent years, maybe distant family friends. That's not to devalue the future of the series. Speaking of, the prologue of this series contains a mailman character delivering letters to the Smash Brothers households to invite them to compete on a luxury island. First of all, I feel like that's a detail that can't ever be replicated in future Total Drama seasons. The rug pulling. The fact that all the campers were tricked into coming here. Anyway, this invitation gimmick predates the first appearance of the Smash letter that would become a staple of Super Smash Bros. Reveal trailers by years. Also predates Random Encounters' use of it. I'm not here to argue that this series is groundbreaking or really even worth watching for anyone that isn't me, but it's charming.
Look, Daddy, I got a
Hell no. I got to lecture. I got to lecture.
You killed my son! Thanks, I was trying to get rid of him.
How do you get a son?
Well... Look, we have a son.
Aside from the Mario host, who actually does a really good reality show host voice, nobody here is a trained voice actor. You can tell this was put together by a group of friends who just really like both Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Total Drama Island. What a year 2008 was. I mean, Wall-E, Kung Fu Panda, Space Chimps. There's so much charm that bleeds through, and it feels so very of the times.
Link's here! Great, Rick rolled again. What the fuck?
Oh yeah.
The challenges are all placed inside custom stages, stages that I so desperately wanted to recreate. This is not a case of me assuming everyone else is watching the same obscure video. These episodes got well over 100K. Bro, just check out this intro sequence. Everyone credited uses their online tags, and you could tell, although they are close, that they recorded in separate households. I mean, due to the limitations of the game and likely lack of controllers, there's never more than 2 characters on the screen at once. The first episode part 1, the first episode part 2 preview, the first episode part 2, and the second episode all aired throughout 2009. But unfortunately, the final video of this series, and the final video posted to Mad Sager's channel, posted February 2010, would be a teaser for an episode we would never see, even 15 years later. Normally this would be the bit of the video where I would pretend to be outraged and start a madman campaign to bring back Total Brawl Island, but the point still stands. Do these guys even talk to each other anymore? Sure, the creator could come back. Sure, they could write a new episode. Sure, they could capture more Super Smash Bros. Brawl footage. But this series was a collaboration between tons of friends over the early age of YouTube. And without that same connection, the spark, the intent, just isn't there. Something about seeing Super Smash Bros. In any capacity just makes me miss my friends. And mourn those past relationships, but I didn't intend for Total Brawl Island to be the end of this section. The fact of the matter is, although an obscure moment in internet history that could only really exist after 2007 but before 2010, this is not the only Total Drama Island parody series full of video game characters filmed in untraditional software that I was obsessed with. It's not even the most obscure. The reason I even made this video, the topic I've been sitting on since Izzy first hit 100K over 3 years ago. I always knew I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to blow some minds. Because the Flash games you may have known about, the slideshows you may have heard about, the typos you may have seen, the ship art, the fan art, the grown-ups, the babies, the Smash Bros, you may have heard about all of those. But they all pale in comparison to the trend so obscure, so specific, so underground that the most popular installment of which, after over a decade, is the only installment to break 100K. I'm so confident that no one else was as big of a fan of this series as I was, I'm willing to bet the rest of this video on it. I've been building it up since the very beginning. I've been thinking about it for years, and yet I've never gone back until today. In the year of our Lord 2009, someone dared to ask, what if we combine Total Drama Island with Pokemon? Total Pokemon Island is an enigma whose origin is still lost to this day. The oldest upload I can find is from Skull Giratina with 6K views on a 16 subscriber channel. And it's the only video. Made famous by the top of its class in TPI runners, Mischievous 525, Elko Raider X 1995. This dude lost his account. Most of which weren't animated in Flash or Premiere or even Windows Movie Maker. No, Total Pokemon Island, more often than not, was a Microsoft PowerPoint fan project. There were others like Robo Apom that dipped more into the plush video category that was also popular at the time. But for many, the most popular, the most well-known in this tiny community, and the one who got me to create my own Total Pokemon Island in PowerPoint every day after school for a year, to the point where when my friends came over, I would make them gather around the computer to watch scripts I wrote. When I got to season 3, I even wrote songs. I performed them badly in front of my family. I don't remember any details, nor do I have any of the files, as the vast amount of Pokemon files I downloaded to my parents' computer required it to be completely wiped. The creator who I watched, likely more than I even watched the actual Total Drama Island, arguably. The creator who introduced me to Nuzlocke for the first time. And I think My Little Pony, my main guy when it came to Total Pokemon Island, was Nicky Nor 2. But the question remains, what even is Total Pokemon Island? What happened here? Well, I know someone who's already in the process of figuring that out. It's currently 3 a.m. What I have written into the script for this video is watching Total Pokemon Island segment, just to insert it here. And I meant what I said. This is a series, a channel that I would visit every day. It's possible I watched more of this series in 2009 than actual Total Drama. And the entire reason this video you're currently watching even exists, aside from it being July, was an excuse to revisit my favorite childhood YouTuber and watch all of Total Pokemon Island. So I sat down at my desk, donned my computer guy costume, and recorded almost 18 hours worth of footage. I'm talking live reaction, past anecdotes, commentary, lore. With the intention of the final segment of this video to be me watching all of Total Pokemon Island from the summer of 2009, and making you all watch. But it's actually when I got to editing said segment, right now, and reaching the 40-minute mark, which is about halfway through the video even without it, that it dawned on me that this was going to be the majority of this video. 40% scripted BHultra natter chamber leading you into a false sense of security as it screeches to a halt, so I could talk about a PowerPoint series from a channel with 3K subscribers. And don't get me wrong, I did have so much to say. So much about the iconic dock image that used to be the default result when you looked up dock on Google Images. The two teams made up of Pokemon that switch characters I didn't even notice until 6 hours in. Bulbasaur's Tyrannical Rule, Trapinch's Pet, Cyndaquil's DS, Happini's Cursed Stone, Cherubi's Girl Alliance, Tailo and Trico's homoerotic rivalry, Baltoy being an incel, Mareep going green, Eevee's plush collection, Chinchou's cannibalism, Spheel's schizophrenia, Zigzagoon's leash, Larvitar carrying his team, Horsey fighting back on the show, Murkrow's magic conch, Magby's pyrotechnics, Oddish's depression, Jigglypuff's final smash, Chimchar's existence, Misdreavus's hypnosis, Swinub's sinuses, Porygon's indifference, Snowrunt's slur, Totodile's biting, Lileep's misfortune, Cranidos becoming the host of the Aftermath show, Dratini's adoption, and Riolu's aura farming. The limited animation, the square images with no blank backgrounds, the campgrounds, the cabins, the iceberg image that I'm sure you've seen. It appeared in this video. The elimination ceremony, the Oran berries, the weird rules, the challenges that don't really make any sense. The 4 characters who are just allowed to come back, the characters from other YouTubers' TPI runs that show up. The many times all these TPI runners, some of which don't exist anymore, tried to collaborate on a TPI that never works. The channel that switched over to Heart Gold and Soul Silver sprites a day after the game released in Japan. The channel that taught me so much. The first time I ever heard about Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The first time I'd ever see the Unova starters. The place I would learn what a Nuzlocke is, or how to animate in PowerPoint, or Maple Story, the channel that convinced me to watch Sergeant Frog for some reason. This video existed on the whiteboard solely so I had an excuse to waste hours of my life revisiting the place I was raised, a nameless island of Pokemon. So many of the videos on this channel exist as excuses. Excuses for me to rewatch a show from my childhood, or a show I never watched, or games I never played. And this segment was no different. This video was no different. But at a certain point I had to ask myself, will anybody else care? If I dedicate 3 hours of this video to rewatching a channel that hasn't uploaded since 2011. I don't know. Maybe I hoped I could share my memories with you guys. Maybe I thought it would help me understand. Maybe I thought my video would do so well that Nicky Noor would return to YouTube and want to be my friend. I honestly don't know why I did this. This segment is going to be the first time I have a portion of a video filmed, edited, and completed that I just remove. Not for time, God knows I don't care about that, but for purpose. Because I'm not one to edit my scripts. I don't do multiple drafts. I'm known to go on several long tangents, but this may be a step too far. Would anyone continue to watch it if I sat here in front of a screen and talked about my childhood show for hours? And the ultimate question, would I even want that? Because at the end of the day, videos like this exist not so you can remember, not so you can feel nostalgic, but for me to recount stories from my past. I have to ask myself again, if I was willing to build a near exact replica of my childhood computer room, hunt down all the videos I watched as a kid, write a whole script for it, and packaged it in a nice bow, the shortest total drama video I've ever made, why would I stop now? And the answer is, at least to me, realizing maybe I don't need to recreate my childhood for a YouTube video. Maybe I don't need to share this aspect of my life, make a spectacle, make everyone watch. I think I felt emboldened because I tried to make everyone in my life, all my childhood friends, I wanted to make them fans when I was a kid. I would put this on any computer screen I could find, even at school, and it never stuck. And now I have a captive audience of adoring fans, asterisk, that will sit through whatever I decide to put them through on a monthly basis, asterisk. And now I hesitate. Maybe Andrew watching Total Pokemon Island doesn't need to be a video. Maybe an entire day of sitting at my desk doesn't need to be worth it. Maybe no one will ever understand how much this series means to me. Because it's stupid. Like, it's not good. It's made by another kid. It doesn't do anything interesting beyond evolution, and it doesn't have anything to say. But why does it have to? And why do I have to tell you about it? Why does this segment of the video need to be me explaining how many hours I sunk into my computer screen at my family's house? Because in actuality, despite some of these videos having thousands of views, it does only really exist for me. Maybe you're my age. Maybe you did grow up with these videos and my project reminded you. Maybe you're gonna go back and rewatch all the series like I did. Maybe you're a new-gen Total Drama fan. Maybe you weren't even born in 2008. Maybe you think you're internet savvy enough and you want to give this series a try to immerse yourself in the time period. But honestly, I can't ever fully display why I loved this YouTube series. No amount of commentary and comedy can replicate that. One half of me wishes that anyone will watch this and want to discover these videos for themselves. But then another half hopes that the stone always remains unturned. That the rock will sit on a property long since abandoned, buried under memories and dirt. The island I used to play and imagine on. It no longer exists, and attempting to revisit it will only suck the magic out of that memory. At least for now, I know how Total Pokemon Island ends. And at least now, you know it exists. But even if you forget, I'll still be here. But it did have some funny moments, and I don't want the footage to go to waste, so we can use that. Okay, so this is playing copyrighted music, so I'm gonna turn off the audio on my recording, but I'm gonna sing over it. I'm gonna make you bend and break, 'cause my eyesight is going. I don't remember the lyrics, actually. One night, yeah, one more time. Thanks for the memories, even though they weren't so great. Worth noting that this show also ended on a cliffhanger. We're in the middle of Total Pokemon action from over a decade ago, and it still hasn't been wrapped up. Someone must finish the story. I'd like to end this video with a glimpse to the future, and I don't mean the future of Total Drama online videos or trends. Not the new series, not the new content creators, not the edgy preteen creepypasta, not the fake shows, not the fan art, not the cosplay, not the fake Roblox game, not the real Roblox game, not even Fortnite. By the way, this video was initially supposed to be a collaboration, and then that script was trashed when Total Drama Fortnite was announced, and the second draft of the script was going to be all about Total Drama Fortnite, even going as far as to reach out to the journalist who broke the story. But then I scrapped it because it got delayed, and I think to this day it still isn't released. No, when I say future, I'm talking about the far-off year of 2009. In America. You see, up until this point, I've been primarily covering Total Drama Island online because most of the videos I remember were from that 2008 period. But once a second season was greenlit and I first saw a glimpse in that one Cartoon Network teaser with the giant rock melted with lava as the logo changed from an I to an A, I was hooked. I mean, by the time I knew there was going to be more, I was hooked. It didn't matter what Season 2 was. But if you have seen Season 2, then you know that halfway through the season, Season 1 camper Courtney makes her triumphant return to the game. Meaning, we don't need that Justin villain arc anymore. Bye, Justin. We're gonna make a Spanish version of you next. Then you may know that this was actually initially teased in the Season 2 intro for Total Drama Action. So anyone who was really paying attention or had access to spoilers from Canada knew that she would be coming back. But the prospect of this excited a young Ultra. If Courtney could come back into the game, what's to stop another Season 1 camper from returning? What about Tyler? He's got a dedicated audience that thinks he's gonna win. What about Noah? He's got fan art. What about June 28th, 2009, uploaded directly to YouTube, Total Drama Action Update, Cody back to TDA? A video which very intensely zooms into the explosion caused by Izzy and examines the image to show, oh my god, it can't be. He's real? Cody's going to be coming back to Total Drama Action? This changes everything. What team is he gonna be on? How will he react to Gwen's relationship drama? Where does he fall on the morality scale? What movies does he even like? When was he joining? How would he be joining? What would... Please don't demonetize this video. Do you know how much money I spent trying to recreate my childhood computer setup? Where am I gonna put all this stuff now?